Tracy. Welcome back to Love Your Shelf. Today I'm going to talk about the 5-star reads that I had in 2023. I read 91 books and I had 6 5-star reads. I did have a lot of 4.5 to 4.75, but I definitely had a few 5 stars I really want to talk about, so we're going to get into it. The first one that I'm going to talk about is the very first book that I read in 2023, and that was The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton. A bunch of people have talked about this book. Specifically, I really enjoy Parks and Rec. They talk about The Phantom Tollbooth in Parks and Rec, so I was like, you know what, I really need to read that book. And so I made it the first book that I read in 2023, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's kind of like a nursery rhyme version of Alice in Wonderland, but it has like the same subject that you would have in school, like math and English. They had a witch, but it's W-H-I-C-H, and then witch, W-I-T-C-H, and I thought that was really cool. And they have a lot of other fun, whimsical things within this book. So I really enjoyed it. It was my first book of the year and my first 5-star read. And then what happened was I didn't have another 5-star read for months. So the next books, I had a really good May and I had a really good June. And so we're going to talk about those books. So in May and June, I read 4 5-star books. And the first one that I'll talk about is one of my favorite books of the year. And that is Your Emergency Contact Has Experienced an Emergency by Chen. In May, I did a book crawl, and during that book crawl, we went to 10 bookstores in one day. One of the bookstores was closed, so I had to go back there later, but it gave us the ability to get 20% off books until May of next year when they do the book crawl again. And so I made it my own personal goal to try to find a book in each place that replicated the type of feel I felt in that bookstore. They have a bookstore called Browsers, and I found this poetry book, Your Emergency Contact Has Experienced an Emergency by Chen, and it is incredible. So one of the things that I will read to you, so one of the things that he does is he takes questions, and actually these 12 questions are pretty incredible, and it's changed how I'm journaling, because I journal, like I think about these questions on a pretty regular basis. This book lives rent-free in my mind all the time. This is Chen utilizing those questions to really make his own poetry. And so an example of that is there's a question, what are the consequences of silence? So there's that one. How will you live now? Who is responsible for the suffering of your mother? Who are you and whom do you love? What is the shape of your body? What do you remember about the earth? How will you or have you prepared for your death? So that's certain things. And if I hadn't read this book, like if someone asked me, how have you prepared for your death? I have life insurance. Like, I don't know how else I would answer that, but his poetry is golden. So I'm going to read part of it to you. What are the consequences of silence? Another memory, another conversation, the same conversation. Are you afraid of women because of me? I shake my head. I'm shaking my head hard. I remember that feeling, shaking my head instead of screaming, though I also did that. I'm shaking my head and trying to say calmly, at a normal volume, I'm not afraid of women. I just don't feel for women what I feel for guys, I guess. I want to answer my mother, no, I'm afraid of you because of you. And then he follows up with another, what are the consequences of silence later on? I want to answer my mother, no, I'm not afraid of women, and I'm not afraid of you. I love men, that's all. That's what you can't believe, won't say, won't let me answer because you can't find the right question. I love that so much. So yeah, this is one of my 5-star books of the year, and I literally would recommend it to anyone. yeah, I'd recommend it to anyone. I did read the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. And another 5-star book that I didn't give the whole series 5 stars, but I did give the last book, Winter, which is clocking in at over 800 pages, a 5-star. It is incredible. So the Lunar Chronicles has Cinderella, but she's a cyborg, Scarlet, which is Little Red Riding Hood, and she ends up like being cohorts with a wolf. All the stories go together. Shockingly, when there's Rapunzel, who is trapped in space instead of a tower, and then there's Snow White, who has a stepmom that wants to kill her. And I don't love Disney's version of Snow White, but I am in love with Winter. She is 100% my crush of the year. She's incredible, and this book is the 4th book of the Lunar Chronicles, and it ties everything in so well. It's such an amazing book. Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstance. This one, I was waffling between 4.75 and 5 stars for this, but in real life, this book is just so interesting to me. So it's kind of like Marcus Zuzak's The Book Thief. So that book is very original because of the narrative. The narrative is death. This book is very original because the narrative tells the story. You're following a bunch of different people, but it's all people that met Waylon Gray, who is supernatural. It's magic realism. It's pretty contemporary, but he can control weather. He can make trees grow and plants become healthy and grow, and he can talk to animals. So he has very nature-like magic and talents, and it goes through different narrators of people that have met him and how he changed their life. So it's just a really incredible story. It's very different. I'm not normally one for magic realism, actually, so I was really surprised. I didn't really know what this book was about. I just loved the name of it. The next book I read that I gave 5 stars to is A Prayer for the Crown Shy, which is a monk and robot book. There's 2 of them so far. I read the first one last year. It's by Becky Chambers. And I read the second one this year, and they're both so good. I'm 98% sure they both got 5 stars from me. It's about a monk and who goes by they, and it is about a robot. And the robot's left a long time ago, and now the robot is in search. He's becoming a spokesperson. Other robots asked him to come to the humans and ask the humans what they need. So monk and robot go on an adventure to find out what humans need. And that ranges from I need a hug to something's broken at my house and I need it fixed to my dog is sad. So it kind of talks about all of anyone's needs, you know what I mean? It can be physical, it can be emotional, but yeah, it's really amazing. And at the end, it talks about waves and the ocean in a way that I think about all the time now. My word for 2024 is water, and part of it is because of this book. So it talks about how waves are gorgeous. People go to see the ocean. The beach is calming, and I personally love the ocean and the ocean waves. I could watch them and hear them forever. And it talks about how the ocean just keeps doing its thing every second of every day, regardless of who's there. But people can come and look at its beauty, but then it can still leave, and you're still going to be there. Or it's still going to be there doing its own thing. And it's a reminder that we need to do what we need to do for ourselves, not do it for other people's joy or to compare ourselves to other people. We just need to do what is best for us, and we need to do it consistently, so that we can have like a good intentional life. And so this book has actually made me think a lot about that life and continuing to have discipline and motivation and contentedness and doing what I want for myself instead of others. Like, do I still do things for others? Absolutely. But I'm not doing the things I'm doing for myself. I'm not doing for others. And I'm not doing for praise. I'm doing for my own self, my own self-love. So this book may help me realize that. And it is such a cute story. And I can't wait for more of these to come out. The last 5-star book that I read in 2023 didn't come until December. It was one of the last books that I read. So I had like a very long stint from June till December when I did not have a 5-star read. But I finally read In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. And it is about a queer, emotional, and sometimes domestic violence relationship, and it is about how you think, like, when you first start and you're in love with someone, you think like, this is the dream, this is the future, this is everything I've ever wanted, and then that real person comes out, the person they really are, and you're stuck in a shit relationship, grieving the person that you thought you loved that isn't that person, and grieving the future that you thought you were going to have with them. And it's so poetically written. Some of the chapters are like Dream House as word problem, Dream House as pathetic fallacy, Dream House at the first Thanksgiving, Dream House as inner sanctum, Dream House as half credit, Dream House as haunted mansion. So there's a lot of different chapters within it that replicate or talk about how you think this is the dream, this is what everything's going to be, especially when you first fall in love, versus what it can end up being in a domestic violence. And she has a lot of, like, this is a memoir, so she also talks a lot about how lesbian domestic violence is a huge thing, but a lot of people don't talk about it. And then she does reference a lot of things, a lot of places where it is talked about in certain books and stuff like that. So it's also educational, and it was just an incredible, really good book. So those are my 5-star reads for 2023. Thank you for joining me at Love Your Shelf. I hope you have a great day. Namaste.